it's not given the option over that, but it will over this. So
Yeah, I didn't think WhatsApp could record.
I have got the ones that I sent you can do the ACR and the other one can do it, and I was using an app specifically for that, and I did test it, and it was fine. It could do that. So there is apps that can do it. I will have another go and have a look. But yeah, there is apps because that's the first one I was using over WhatsApp.
Hmm. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So
So
yeah, this is going to be like a first in a series of podcast, audio cast discussions, as we like to call them, open and honest discussions, talking about various topics that people don't really talk about openly, or they may have inner feelings about this, but privately, but they go along with the mass way of thinking in public in that respect. So we're trying to invite people in and give them a opportunity and a platform to discuss certain topics. For example, today or for the next week or so, we'll be looking at lockdown and how that's affected uh, peoples. Um, some people that I've come across over the last 9 months or so. Um, it's been very interesting, and I say interesting because like while the media was stating one thing, they were forgetting about primary mental health with people. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
like, so there's been a lot going on within this, and like, I want to know like what you know what it's been like for you, your people, your family, your neighbour up the road. What's it been, I mean, I don't know if you're around young people, but what's it been in your opinion if you come into contact with young people? What's it been like for them and the older generation?
yeah. Okay. What do you want me to give my opinion now?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So anyway, are you recording it now?
yeah,
Oh, okay. Where should I start? I'll probably start with for I'll start with me. Lockdown. Um, it's been challenging,
yeah,
certainly. I think just the fact that you go through such a major change, and the change is, you're basically being told you're not allowed to go out, stay in your house, and I'm a person that's used to going out a lot. I've got a pretty busy lifestyle.
yeah.
I'm in a job where I travel a lot,
Okay,
go or drive and travel a lot, and I'm used to spending time on my own on car journeys where I might be listening to a podcast or listening to radio or talking on the phone to someone because
okay,
I'm traveling all the time. Um, and that one's obviously wiped out.
yeah,
Um, so all of a sudden, I'm spending an awful lot more time at home. And I've always seen myself as more of a outdoor guy, where I prefer to be moving places. And then, in addition to that, I had a lot of extracurricular activities as well.
okay,
So I was playing football on a Saturday afternoon. I was going football training as well on like midweek. So those two things. And on a Sunday, I go and see my mum, take my son who's free, to my mum's and spend a few hours around there.
yeah. And all of
So
that's come to a halt, is what you're saying.
yeah, yeah. All of it came to a halt. All of it came to a halt. And because it's such a big change, yeah, you find it challenging. I found it challenging anyway.
Mm.
I'd probably say,
I mean, sorry to cut you. I mean, did you take it? I'll say, did you take it seriously in the beginning? Because I know a lot of people were thinking, oh, it's going to be one of those passing things, short-lived, and we'll go back to normality and move on and progress.
Seriously. Depends on what you define as seriously.
Back in I mean, when it first came last year, back in March, you know, I know for me, looking at it, I didn't know which way it was going to swing in that respect. So I was hoping, though, you know, I didn't expect to be seeing the restrictions and how it went even that early, to be honest. You know what I mean? So for me, I thought it'd be, in some senses, I thought it'd be something that could pass. You know?
There's one thing I would definitely say. I was, we all knew it was going to happen. So I certainly had some preparation that, hey, you know, maybe a week and a half before lockdown happened, that it was going to happen because
Okay.
the cases were reported to be going up. So I became a bit pessimistic. I was like, you know, a week and a half before it happened, I was like, no, it's only a matter of time it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, there was talk on the grapevine of it. So mentally, I was kind of like, you know, psychologically, I was ready. I had my mother-in-law who, she was staying with us 3 days a week, looking after our son, whilst we be out going to work and stuff.
Yeah.
And I said to her, look, man, you might as well go back up to Birmingham. You know, be prepared. You know, we're not going to have you stay here whilst, you know, our son's two parents are going to be at home.
Right, okay. Was that early? Was that earlier on in during lockdown? Meaning like last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was about a week and a half before lockdown.
Oh right. Okay. I'm.
And I kind of was prepared for what was, you know, preparing for the first lockdown because there's so much talk on the grapevine, and you know, discussing childcare issues with my, you know, with my wife and mum-in-law. You know, I said to her, look, it's going to happen. You can't stay here, or there's no point in you staying. You should go up. You should go back up, basically. You know, you should travel back up to Birmingham. And she did. She did travel back up on the Sunday before lockdown. Lockdown, I remember, happened on the Tuesday. It happened on a Tuesday. So, did I take it seriously? I certainly didn't just stay at home.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that now. So I think I became a bit. I kind of rebelled against it a bit. In fact, I rebelled against it a lot.
Yeah, I think most people that I've come into contact with were more or less going through the same sort of thing because of the life changing in that respect. The life that they knew prior to hearing the word COVID-19 was all fun and frolics in that respect, and overnight, you know, all that fun and frolics is taken away, so to speak. You're restricted to and limited. So yeah, I think a lot of people, you know, had that mindset of, you know, are they for real? They can't do this to me, and you know, I'm going out because who's going to stop me? And I don't, you know what it is? It's very hard, isn't it? You know, so like, and whether they're going to make things law or not is another thing based on the current climate of things. But yeah, it's still going to be hard. It's very hard.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to hear that there were other people that are thinking like me because I felt like I was the only person.
Yeah.
Who thought the way I did when it happened.
Yeah.
Because I remember I thought to myself, I'm not just going to keep my son at home. You know, at the time, you know, coming on, you know, going on to 3 years old.
Yeah.
And I can't just leave him at home. He needs some exercise.
Yeah.
He needs to go out. Weather was good. And I thought, you know what? Work is quieted down so much that I'm barely going to be doing anything. You know, there was a point in time where I think with work we were in limbo.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't really know how we were going to adjust to the change. So, literally, I remember maybe it might have been a day after lockdown. I remember going out because, you know, everyone's talking about the restrictions, how you could go for exercise. And in my head, I was like, well, that's my exercise. I'm going,
Yeah.
I'm going to the park with my son.
Yeah.
And I remember going out to local park, and it was dead. It was like Christmas Day. It was like going out on Christmas Day.
Ghost town.
The roads were dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
The roads were dead.
Yeah.
The parks were dead.
Yeah.
The only people I encountered were dog walkers. There was a few people who were doing exercise and stuff. Mainly it was dog walkers.
Mm.
And contrary to the government advice, most of the vast majority of people that I came across, I saw, they were all over 60. They were over 60.
Okay.
They were walking out, walking their dogs. Obviously it was really sparsely populated when they were out, but walking their dogs. And I'm thinking, I swear these people have been advised to stay home because they're mainly at risk.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? This is the thing. Like anything new, which comes across as a directive, or there's consequences to not adhering to those directives. And if you look at the older generation, I look at my mum, and she was off. I've had to try and calm her down because she's a walker. She'll walk from Camden to Greenwich and all sorts of different stuff going on, and don't really mind her own business kind of thing. But I'm saying, look, you need to do this and do that. And she's like, well, I need to get out. And I'm like, wow, well, what'd you do? What'd you do in the situation? She's 70 odd. They look at things a bit different than our generation or my generation of people, and then the generation below. So I get it, and this is why I like to have these conversations with various different people, because everyone's got a different take, and I don't think the vast. I mean, if I look at the vast amount of people I come across, they're singing a song which is not really been spoken about, to be honest, in senses. And like going back to what you said about you felt happy or glad that there's other people out there thinking having the same mindset as you at the time, because you thought you was on your own. That, for me, looking at that, and again, I was pointed in directions to look at this. It depends where you get information from. Now, if people are watching mainstream and following mainstream, then they get information from that, and you feed off that. And then if you get any information or alternative ways, then you get information from that. Now, the thing that I was made to look at was doctors, qualified people that are qualified to talk about vaccines and viruses and whatever you whatnot, being silenced and whatever you. Once upon a time there wasn't, they shared a few words to the public, and then all of a sudden they were struck off the register. So, and it seems to be a continuing, kind of factor. If I look at it in that respect, so like I said, it depends where you get information from, and like why on the news. I remember on the BBC ITV news, one of the doctors, I can't remember her name, which is a shame, yeah, but she came forth and said that doctors over here need to really shut up or else. I mean, and that was like on the news, and I'm like, well, what does she mean by that? And saying it, on TV to referenced. So, like I said, it all depends where you get information from, in that respect. And like, I find it interesting that why are you striking off a doctor that's been in the field for 45 years, studied the science to a point where they actually know about this stuff, and yet you're silencing them. So it leaves room for more debate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, with regards to the actual virus, because I haven't mentioned how I felt about it,
Go on.
my own perception of safety,
Okay.
risk. If I was to scale it out of 10, I'd probably say I never really felt at risk. But just on a personal level.
Okay.
When I mean, don't get me wrong.
Is that based on the word? Is that based on the word they reference pandemic? And what we're seeing and what the public have seen, or shouting is that there's not a pandemic, as the term is meant to mean.
I'm trying to. I think just before the first lockdown, and everyone was kind of panicking. That felt like, from my perspective, I kind of like took a step back, and I was looking around, and I thought, this is strange. Just people panicking everywhere. I just looked around and I was thinking to myself, should I be panic buying? Because once people start panic buying, you think to yourself, hold on a minute, there's not going to be enough for me, so I need to panic buy as well. Am I not reading from the same hymn sheet? So I remember losing out on buying loads of toilet roll.
Yeah.
and struggling to get toilet roll because I was probably too slow on the mark. But I was looking around and I was thinking, why is everyone behaving this way?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking to myself. I never really felt at risk from serious illness. That's why I say I say 2 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going out. I was coming back in, washing my hands every time. It was something I did before.
Yeah.
Before the whole pandemic, and I wasn't doing it as religiously.
Yeah.
But it's not doing it was not so beyond my, my behaviours.
Yeah.
So it was quite easy to do it. I carry a little bottle of alcohol on me anyway when I go out, if I've got a bag.
Okay.
So again, it didn't make that much difference to me.
Fair enough.
I might just apply it a bit more than what I do normally. But I was never wearing gloves or masks or anything like that, never. But I never really truly felt at risk from it. And I was seeing people.
Sorry. Have you researched then? Obviously, as information has been fed through the public or the public domain, have you researched and then found, how can I say, that what they're saying they're falling short on? For you to have that mindset.
At the time, harking back to lockdown 1, I knew on a basic level that the people that were dying had pre-existing health conditions, were over 60, and would generally be not very healthy.
Okay.
And I don't tick any of those boxes, so that's the reason why I didn't really go for it. Overwhelmingly those are the people that were dying. So I felt I don't tick any of that.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm a healthy individual. Physically, I'm healthy. And I think I kept on recalling my experiences when we had 11 years ago the whole H1N1.
Oh yeah.
Swine,
Yeah.
back in 2009.
Yeah.
And how that was a big thing at the time. I remember I was coming out of school and I caught it.
Okay.
And I was ill. I was ill for a few days. So I was ill for a few days. I had a headache, high temperature, all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
But I was only very ill for maybe 3-4 days, and other members of staff, they were knocked out. I mean, they were away from work for like 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I always had a trust, I always had faith in my immune system that, you know, if this thing comes and I catch it, I'll be fine.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that's when I recall kind of like my feelings from lockdown 1. I was felt a bit rebellious and stuff, and like I said, I felt alone because I go out on the street, there was no one else out.
Yeah.
You know, no one else is out, and I probably didn't see anyone. I say friends. I didn't see friends for roughly about 3 or 4 weeks. But there was a few close personal friends I had where it was fishy. You know, we're looking at it like there's something going on here. There's something not right.
Well, I mean, the highlight for that for me, as you say that, was the Trafalgar Square march, or whatever it was called. I can't remember the actual name of it, where there was a few speakers, mainly doctors, talking about COVID and not so much COVID itself, but yeah, COVID, but viruses and how viruses work, etc. Do you know what I mean? So that kind of highlighted, hang on, who are these people? Why isn't it actually televised, or why isn't the media on it in the way that it normally would have been? You know, and what are they discussing? So I mean, because of that interest and because of the lack of interest through the media, through the mass media, I found like a 3 or 4 hour video on it, and I decided to watch it, and it was interesting viewing. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I said, it's who like depending where you get your information from, which is going to keep people divided. Which brings me to like families, you know, and onto the vaccine. You know, a lot of people knew this was going to come. I knew it was going to come at some point. How they're going to roll it out was the questions, and you know, is it going to be something where we all globally have to be compliable to or comply to? What are the health risks? How quickly will it be rolled out? And that, for me, looking at stuff like that quite deeply, I don't think it's, from looking at it realistically, it's a bit too quick, right? So, you know, are people willing to go there? Yes. Why? In a opinion, through fear, is what a lot of people have shown, and panic, you know. But this within my own family, the elders particularly, it's caused such a divide. With the vaccine, are you going to get it? No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Why not? You know, you should. Why should I? And all the rest of it. And you know, some of the family now kind of like divided, which is not nice. You know. So there's some people in my family I might not get to see again now because of this divide nature, which I think a lot of people are feeling. You know. Causes arguments and all sorts in the household amongst couples and all the rest of it, you know, if they've got like teenage kids, you know what I mean, or kids in general, you know, get the kids done, they're at school, you know, nah, one saying no, one saying yes, you know, so there's a lot there, and I think, you know, people need to be a bit more schooled than what they've been told, you know, in that respect. Have you seen any such divide or felt anything yourself like that? Debating with others over this?
Only recently. I mean, I guess a lot of time has elapsed from, you know, let's say first lockdown to, it feels like a lot of information has been, shared between the first lockdown and, where we are now, early 2021. And I kind of foresaw, because there was so much information that was flying around during the first lockdown, because people were just on their phones.
And very confusing information at the same time.
Yeah. Everyone was on social media, everyone was on their devices.
True.
Information was just flying around. Every video, every conspiracy you can think of, in that 2.5 month period, longer, even after the restrictions eased, pretty much saw it all, because you're at home and because we could, really.
Yeah.
And I foresaw quite early some of the things that were going to happen, and with one of them being the whole vaccine thing, because they said pretty early in the press, mainstream media, that we're gonna, a vaccine was going to be developed, and that rang alarm bells for me, because as someone who has kind of researched vaccines over, done my own research over the last 4 years, minimum of 4 years, because, my son, who's 3.5, he made the decision not to give him any, and that's not an easy decision to make. It's not an easy decision. You're going against the grain, you're going against medical professionals, even, not necessarily family. I do what I want with my kids, my family. You've got, no involvement in their health. But if you were to tell your family, they'll ask questions about, why? So when you do the research and then you find some dark things, some really dark things about vaccines and the industries behind it. One of the things that I've come across was that, there's been a plan for every man, woman, and child to be vaccinated at some point in time.
Okay.
And I came across this before lockdown, like way before this whole pandemic. So that was very deep in the back of my mind. Okay, I know the aim of all pharmaceutical companies is to be able to give drugs to healthy people, because that's where you'll make money. You'll make money from sickness, but you'll make even more money if healthy people feel like they need drugs of some sort.
Yeah.
And vaccinations is one of them. So alarm bells started ringing instantly when they were talking about the vaccine, and I kind of knew, I think I know where this is going to go. And then obviously the information that you get from different sources, I was getting loads of information from other sources, trusted sources before the pandemic.
Okay.
I was hooked onto, and it was the same kind of thing that I was reading. So I knew it was going to be, there's only one way out of this, and that'll be vaccines. And they'll try and vaccinate everyone. So looking back then and into now, obviously now we know the vaccine is being rolled out, and I've known for a long time that vaccines are a divisive issue anyway.
Yeah.
This going to divide people even more.
Yeah, this is why, again, these conversations are good to have, and to get the many different views, so people can have a more of an informed way or approach, and even to get more informed and enlightened by others before they make that decision to take that on board. You know,
So
with
so far, oh, sorry.
so with myself, if I look at that based on myself, yeah, I look at it as far too quick, irrespective of people saying it's safe. Um, do you know what I mean? I need proof, not just someone on the TV. Um, Again, I refer to television, telling me or the peoples that this is what you need, take that, and you'll be great. You know,
Mm.
where's the proof? You know what I mean? Where's the proof in that? So it's going to be interesting, and which leads me on to a little bit of the final stages of this discussion. Is like personally, like I said, on a personal view, and hearing Boris talk, not just Boris, the MPs in general, um, it seems like we're kind of edging towards this dictatorship um, that people talk about, Orwellian state. I hear words and comments and phrases, um, keywords like, you must, like obey um, and adhere to the new rules. And I'm like, okay, the narrative is changing. If people listen carefully to narratives, and narratives always change. um,
Mm.
it's amusing, it's amusing to me, but it's like, hang on, they're kind of like saying it like that, where we have to really show some compliance with this. So, are we into a dictatorship? Is it becoming more like China? And there's in that communist type of, or even fascism. Are we edging that way?
I mean, we haven't lived in
Is
China.
it like more control? Like I'm saying,
Yeah.
I mean, overall, whether it's government or not, closing in, restricting us. You know,
Um,
are we gonna have to have a passport to come out of a house? Is what I'm saying,
um,
and go to the shop.
certainly, certainly, our freedoms have been eroded. Not even eroded; they've been, snatched away.
Subtly.
Um, very, very, very quickly. I mean, I think our freedoms have been eroded slowly over the last, you know, 10, 20 years. But certainly, I'd say this pandemic has made it go into overdrive.
Yeah.
Or it's the justification to just remove our freedoms. And I certainly think, not that I've never been to China, but I've met very few Chinese people. I can only go on what I see on TV about what China is like, and it's a very authoritarian state.
Yeah.
It seems like,
which is what I was alluding to. Yeah.
It seems like we are going that way. With it's I look at the people, or I speak to different people, and when I speak to, just it could be just strangers about this, people who I might meet doing the nursery run, it might be work colleagues, just different. I try and just talk to a multitude of different people.
Yeah.
Sometimes with different opinions, it's always easier to talk to someone who's got similar opinions, but talking to people even with different opinions, and you can see there's a bit of a hive mentality. That this is something that we're doing not just for us, but we're doing for others. And we need to sacrifice a bit of ourselves for the good of society. Play your part.
Yeah.
It feels like language that certainly they were using in the USSR.
Yeah.
And I've read 1984 before. It was something I read at school. And obviously, you just look at it like it's just a work of fiction, really.
Well, I've seen things like that in They Live,
Mm.
the film They Live. If you haven't seen it, it's a good watch. You probably need to see a little bit of it to get to see exactly what's going on right now. That's a really an old film, to be honest.
Yeah. So it's weird. I actually want to read 1984 again. I'm likely not to read it.
You know what?
I watched the film when it came out.
When?
I didn't watch the film when it came out. I've seen the film because the film came out during the same year. And we watched it as part of, I don't remember, it was English, Literature, Media Studies.
Yeah, I did Media Studies. Right, okay, I think I need to watch that because I haven't read the book and everyone's talked about it for so long. It's got to that point where, obviously I'll get it, but I think, is the film actually, good?
It's a very dark film. It's a good film. It was a long time ago I saw it. We were talking about 20 years ago.
Who's in it?
John Hurt is the main protagonist, basically.
Okay.
So John Hurt. So the film, I think it came out in 1984. John Hurt is in it. And everything, it just feels like what we've seen of communist Eastern Bloc countries. Very grey. No one's got any individuality. People are like robots.
Very uniformed, yeah.
And there's a lot of propaganda and it's a very I think this is a film or it's a book that didn't have a happy ending.
Yeah.
And how often do you see a film or how often do you read a book where there's no happy ending?
Well, there's a series of those books, though. Under that type of... There's a series of those type of books, though, to be honest. And included is that one with the nun... not the nuns, what are they? That series that was on TV. I've studied it recently as well, to be honest. It will come back to me anyway, but... There's a few that are similar to 1984. But I didn't know about them until later on. Do you know what I mean? In that respect. So there's a few that are associated to that type of era. And there's a series they brought out on TV that my partner was watching. I actually did a play when I went back to college recently and studied that. Oh God, what's the name of it?
You're talking about Brave New World?
Not Brave New World. It's similar to that though. They brought out a series. Anyway, they brought out this series where these women are kind of locked up.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The Handmaid's Tale.
That's it. That's the one. That's a part of that same 1984. Like I said, there's a series of them. And when I done a little study when I was at college recently, kind of thing, it said there's a series of these books, and like 1984, and I went, oh, all these. I thought, what do you mean a series of these? Like even the Handmaid's Tales, there's meant to be something else with the tales in it, something else tales, and with it's like a. So it's interesting, and I will look into it because those books. Like I said, I kind of knew. I mean, 1984, you know about. Brave New World, I knew about, but not really. When I say not really, I haven't read them. Right, and they came about like when I was truly into my path, kind of thing. So I kind of dismissed them en route. So but yeah, I wouldn't mind actually reading that book or both, watching the film. I think it's about that time.
The Handmaid's Tale. I remember my wife watching it early during lockdown.
Okay.
And I was like, what's this? And I've never heard of it ever.
Yeah, it's pretty
deep. Like, oh yeah, this is, this program about, these women who basically bear children for these people who can't have children. And I was like, this looks a bit dystopian. Like, this looks very similar. This is very similar to some of the things that I've been reading.
Someone Atwood, I can't remember her name, who wrote the book. Someone someone Atwood, can't remember her name, but yeah, pretty intense. We read the book, saw 2 versions or 3 versions of the film, and meant to do a whole say a whole piece on it, you know. And whatever. So yeah, I know quite a bit about it. It was hard to watch in the beginning because like it starts off like normal life, and then all of a sudden life changes, and the women are kind of like looked at like that. It's like wow. And if you can't bear children, you kind of look like a leper and taken to like another island where people that can't have women and can't have kids, they go to this other island. Women are just basically there to get raped, to be honest, and then if you come out of line, they're hung and out in public for people to see. You walk to this public place, whatever square, I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, pretty intense. It's a intense kind of dystopia. Yeah, it's when you get time, if you get time, you can either watch the movie, which a couple of famous people. There's a few different versions of it. The series probably.
So there was actually a film.
Yeah. I've watched. Yeah, I had to do it in college. So there's a few. I think Richard Burton played one of the guys in it. I think Richard Burton's in it. Or someone like that. Yeah. Yeah, not good. Not good. Not good. But
I might it was something I wanted to watch.
Yeah, I think you should.
I mean, there's a lot of things I want to watch, to be honest.
Yeah.
It came out, Handmaid's Tale came out in, I'm just looking it up now, came out in 1990.
Is it Mary Atwood? Something like that. Something like that.
Natasha Richardson, Faye Dunaway, Aidan Quinn, Elizabeth. I don't know any of these people, to be honest.
Yeah, I do. Faye Dunaway. That's all old school.
Okay, I recognise Robert Duvall.
Yeah, that's him. Robert Duvall. It wasn't Richard Burton. Robert Duvall. Yeah. Yeah. And they all take the women take the men's names. The men are called. I can't remember what they're called now. See, it's a particular term they use, but all the women take the men's names, and it's really weird how they speak with it. Really weird. Like slave, like slave. Like back in the day, the slaves take their master's name, etc.
The synopsis says, in a dystopian, polluted, right-wing religious tyranny, a young woman is put in sexual slavery on account of her now rare fertility. And I mean, it's an 18, so I don't know whether it's a case you actually see some sex.
The film is a bit more, and it was old school back then as well, but you don't really see. But I haven't seen the series. The series, because that was like new. That's more up to date. I don't know what they're gonna be like, especially nowadays. You know what I mean? How descriptive and whether they need to actually show them stuff like that. In that respect, I don't see the point to it. You can give the element that's going to happen, and that's it. Cut. You know what I mean? So it's stuff to make you think. I give it that. The book had me up properly when I'm going through it. You know, we had to read it out loud and stuff in college and da. This is when I went back to college I studied to become a social worker. And I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, part of it was A-level English and stuff. Which I smashed, and you went to do Handmaid's Tales and another play. What's his face? I can't remember his name. But very interesting. But yeah, the work took me somewhere. Looking at this thing took me somewhere. Reading it took me somewhere because of the language and stuff. And you know, it just takes you places. Like you're thinking, wow. You know, what if? You know, the big what if kicks in, and it's like, wow, you know, the whole story. Because I don't know if the series, the series they done on TV communicates the same thing as the book or the movie, where the woman that gets captured is actually with her man and her child, and they're there in the fields mucking about, playing, you know, in the fields and whatever you whatnot, and all of a sudden it's just on top. He gets shot, cut long story short. She runs to the husband, And then it's on top. People are shooting, and all noises going off. I don't want to get into it and spoil it. She tells the kid to run and all that kind of stuff. And then they pick her up, and then the scene changes there. Boom, fade to black. I was going to kill it from there. That's how the film, or one of the film, portrays the beginning part of that story. So everything was kind of normal, and all of a sudden, could you actually see her going into shops and stuff? Because what they did, they take away women, all women's rights went, mate. So a lot of the women, what they done, they put their, if they had a nice husband, because all the males were kind of seen as the kings, if you get me. So what some of the women done was take the money out and put it wherever they could put it where it's safe. Now she went to do, I can't remember what she went to do, but she went to do something and got blanked on a credit card or debit card. Went to do something else, went to draw money out, no money. And she had money, if you know what I mean. So she went to see someone, and then the story kind of unfolds. So it's kind of interesting. So I don't know if the series communicates that end of it, how the normality, from the normality of it going to all of a sudden women are seen like that and very much at the low level. The man he's got all the strength and what have you, whatnot, and that's how it was. Do you know what I mean? So if I can find the right version, because there's a few, but you should be able to find it anyway, to be honest. But the film was, in my opinion, after watching two of them and reading the book, I didn't want to watch no more. Was when the series came out. In fact, that series started as I finished college, as I finished my course, and when I think I'm not watching that when it comes out, because I had enough of it. It was like, wow, I've seen too much. Because you got to critically discuss it, and you know what I mean. So yeah, I've had enough of the Handmaid's Tales, to be honest. It could last me a lifetime, but there's a few like that make you think, you know, and the what ifs and what have you, whatnot. Brave New World, and all the rest of them are part of that. You know.
Yeah, there are a couple of films, man. One that I saw a couple of my friends were talking about like many years ago.
Yeah.
And it's got. Do you remember the wrestler? I don't know if you ever watched WWF back in the day.
Not really, but my cousins did. They used to wind me up, but go on.
So Roddy, do you remember Roddy Piper?
No, it doesn't ring a bell.
So Roddy Piper, he was a wrestler in WWF back in the 80s, 90s, but he's probably more famous back in the 80s. And he was in a film called They Live.
Yeah,
which was made in
yeah,
1988.
that's up. Yeah. I know you're talking about. That's Obey and all that stuff in it.
Yeah.
Put on the glasses, take them off. Put on the glasses, take them off.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And I just remember, my friends talking about it, and I just stumbled across it. It must have been during lockdown. I think I stumbled across it.
Yeah.
And I watched it. I was like, oh gosh, yeah, like that is exactly how
the
world is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I guess like pretty much 99.9% of people who watched the film probably wouldn't have seen that when it was directed.
Not at all. So whoever made that film or was involved in that film, in the writing side and the creative side, they was on the ball. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't the best film.
No. But it said what it needed to say.
You know, so yeah, definitely. So I'll never look at films in the same way again, to be honest.
Not at all.
You know?
Even down to The Matrix, mate.
Say again?
Even down to The Matrix.
Yeah, you know what? That's a film. I watched the first one again during lockdown, and I was thinking, you know what? This is a film I need to watch again. I still need to get through the second and third one. I feel like I will never have any free time again now. Now I've got a newborn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I feel like I'll never have free time.
I hear that. I hear you. All right, then I'm gonna leave it there, mate.
Okay, cool then. Yeah.
That's been great, right? We'll catch up again and come with part 2 and 3, and I'll let you know.
Okay, brilliant then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Lovely speaking to you.
Oh, no problem. Yeah. All right, you take care. Yeah?
Cheers, D.